just something to remember. There's always something to learn from, and hopefully you guys are learning as much as we are. Definitely no expert, just trying to show you guys exactly what we're doing and how we're trying to expand and do what we're doing here on our place in the upstate of South Carolina. So let me show you a highlight of exactly what we got potted up here, and then we'll talk a little bit about different things.
Dean Family Acres.
Alright guys, so we're out here today. We got the first whole batch of semi-dwarf pears, the Old Home Farmington, I believe, 333. We got all of those grafted, and now we're gonna start potting those up. My thought process of that is that these are semi-dwarf, so these would traditionally be ones that would be a little bit more backyard oriented, not necessarily full size. So we're gonna pot these up so they'll be a little bit easier to sell. I might not necessarily pot up all of these, but I'm trying my best to keep this stuff organized, especially until my tags come in later this week. So here we go. We'll dive into getting these up potted into our 4-inch tree pots. All right guys, so as a whole, we've got basically our potting soil made up. I can tell you that that's something that I'm gonna need to modify if this continues to grow. I probably should just pull the tractor over here and mix it up in a complete bucket. I've seen guys also use some old cement mixers, like an electric one or whatever, you know, the big tub, and you just put everything in it, let it mix it up, and then you dump it out for exactly what you need. For now, I'm just mixing up like this. I'm gonna get about 4 pots out of this, so I have to do it about 10 times. Probably need to be thinking forward about this in regards to the others, but honestly I think a lot of those others are going to end up going in the garden, so hopefully it won't be nearly as big a deal. Alright, let's dive in. We'll get these pots started. For now, what I'm going to do is basically put just a little bit of soil in the bottom of each pot, and then I'll bring out some of those trees and put them into the pots and kind of start seeing if I need to add more soil. Doing my best to try and just break up each one of these processes. We got these from Stewie and Sons, and actually ordered brand new pots. Never really done that before, but these are 4x4 this size, and they're 14 inches tall. That way the roots will grow nice and deep. The other advantage is that, you know, well, number one advantage is that you've got the deep roots. The other advantage is it doesn't use quite as much soil, so that goes a little bit further as you're kind of working through each of these processes and what else you're going to have. And you can fit a whole lot more of these in a tight space. That's the other part for us. We got to kind of figure out how we're going to place these, stand these up, etc. I didn't buy the stands for these. They were kind of expensive once you added shipping. At least to me, but almost everything's expensive. Maybe we'll justify it later, but I really think there's better DIY options for this stuff. Plastic milk crates, 9 of these will fit in, and you can pick them up and move them. So I think that works well. Also, kind of your plastic totes that you maybe put clothes or store things in your garage or shop. You can stack those up in there as well, and then drill a hole in the side so that maybe just a little bit of water stays in the bottom. So we're kind of exploring which options those we're wanting to do, and then we'll kind of go from there in regards to next steps. All right, there's 5. Let's go get some of those grafted pear trees out of the refrigerator, and then we'll go from there back out here and get these things up potted. All right guys, so we got our 4 Shinko Asian pears that we've got grafted up. And you can see most of these roots aren't going to have a problem. This one might be a little bit tight, but we'll just push it down in the pot. I think we'll be good. Got those grafted up. They just spent the night in the refrigerator. The only other thing I didn't do with these that I might want to do is I didn't wrap parafilm all the way up. So I've got some wax going in there, and actually I think I'm just going to dip this top part in wax for now, and I'll be right back. This one here actually did graft and put the parafilm all the way up. Alright guys, that was pretty quick and easy. I'll show you. Probably didn't have to dip this one, but those two, just dip them in wax. Keep it from drying out. Kind of just think about your height that you want these at. The roots on these are not nearly as fragile as the pawpaws and other things that we've been dealing with here lately. So I've got a little bit of, wiggle that I can work with here, but I'll still make sure that I get the height right, and also that I kind of bump the soil down in. You don't want air pockets. But in regards to kind of holding onto this rootstock, you certainly can do that pretty substantially. With these pears, not really going to hurt anything. I mean, use common sense. Alright guys, got that one right to the root flare. Should be good. And then I still have my markings here for SHI for Shinko. I could come in here and write that on the actual pot, and I may do that, but I'm going to have some tags too that are on the way. That bumping allows the soil to kind of get in around those roots so that you don't have air pockets. And yes, I am on a glass table. Just be careful what you're doing. I've done this several other times. I kind of don't get too aggressive with it. Alright, and then once we water, that'll settle in as well. So feel that soil all the way down. Feels great. Another Shinko. Alright, got a third one down. This soil mixing stuff's going to be a pain, I can tell you that now. Alright, last Shinko. Alright, got our last Shinko. Alright guys, so we got all of those 333, the semi-dwarf pears, potted up, and you might have caught it on the time lapse, but I didn't think to soak those roots in water until, I don't know, I was a little over halfway at least. And so don't forget that you want to make sure you're soaking those roots in water. We're watering these in really well, which is fine, but if you can let them soak for 30 minutes to an hour or something like that before you're potting them up, that would be absolutely perfect. Just something to remember. There's always something to learn from, and hopefully you guys are learning as much as we are. Definitely no expert, just trying to show you guys exactly what we're doing and how we're trying to expand and do what we're doing here on our place in the upstate of South Carolina. So let me show you a highlight of exactly what we got potted up here, and then we'll talk a little bit about different things. Alright guys, so you can see here's all of our old home 333 rootstock grafted pears. We did 25 of these. Wide variety, we kind of talked about that earlier, but the goal for the 333 is just it's going to be semi-dwarf, so it's going to be a smaller tree, be perfect for backyards, and we pretty much grafted completely fire blight. I won't say resistant, but they say that pretty much almost all of these don't get fire blight. If they do, it's super rare. That's one of the main things you do want to look at in regards to picking a pear tree for your backyard, especially here in our region of upstate South Carolina. We just have a lot of fire blight pressure. So pretty much all of these varieties have limited to no fire blight issues. The Asian pear, the Shinko is like the strongest you can get with an Asian pear in regards to fire blight resistant, and the Shirley is kind of the next one down. So kind of thinking about that, Asian pears are a little more prone, but the two that we did graft onto these are probably the most resistant that you can find. So if you do want to try Asian pear, got a couple of those too. So now what we're going to do is just make sure to re-water all of these really well, and make sure that those roots are getting a really good soaking for the day. You might notice we're kind of in the shade. The way the sun comes up is kind of over behind me, and then late in the afternoon we do get some sun here, which is pretty warm. We might end up moving some of these over here near where our crepe myrtle is. We kind of let things grow under that, but we got to kind of figure out what we want to do for watering and make that a little more automated. I think I know it's not necessarily the greatest thing, but I think we're going to probably use a sprinkler and a timer and just, you know, make sure all of this stuff gets watered pretty well. 25 of these are the pears, and then we've got about 20 to 25 that are pawpaws in here. One other thing to just think about, and not that it really matters in regards to if you're looking specifically for a pear, but if you are thinking about grafting your own, we did a few cleft if the rootstock was just a whole lot bigger. Most of these we were able to do a whip and tongue for the most part, and we hope that that's going to work really well. We've never really done that before, but man, it's really not as hard as you think. I think we kind of overcomplicate things a whole lot of times, and if you kind of start paying attention, it really secures it much better than a cleft. Like when I was trying to wrap it with that parafilm, as a whole, the ones that were a whip and tongue, I mean, they would move, but man, you'd really have to bump them pretty good to make them move. The cleft, they move, and you just got to be kind of careful until they settle out. So I think that's a huge advantage there. I'd love to hear exactly what kind of pears you've got growing on your place. If you don't have pears, feel free to reach out. If it's going to be a little bit later in the year after these have leafed out and taken, be happy to kind of connect you and potentially sell some to you. The biggest thing is I don't know that we'll be able to ship, especially in the summer or something like that, but if you're somewhat nearby, reach out. We'll be happy to kind of help you out. deanfamilyacres@gmail.com, or shoot us a message over on Messenger on Facebook, and we'll be happy to reach out to you and see what might be a good fit for you. Alright, enough of me yapping. It is time to get on to the next project for the day. Hopefully you guys enjoyed this one, and we're super excited about being able to add this new adventure to our place. Thanks so much, guys. Hope you all have a wonderful and blessed one, and don't forget to share this video with your friends. We'll see you next time.